I would stop talking. All right, well, welcome to RU 703. It's good to have you all here. Hey, it is what it is. I have no control, so I just show up and look good, man. Oh, no, I mean, teach. I'm sorry. That looking good part is yours. I forgot. So, anyway. You know, you got to be good at something, right, Rich? He's the small man in black today. Well, it's good to have you all here. Seriously, it's always encourages me when I show up and just there's people here and I get to teach. And God is teaching me a lot of stuff about teaching recently. He taught me today that when you teach somebody something, then He's going to test you on it. There's something basically wrong with that concept, because if I'm the teacher, I shouldn't have to take a test. But talking to somebody today, and God opened up something to me and really showed me something that was like help to them. And so later on that afternoon, God threw it in my face, and I had to go through that test, and it wasn't much fun. But I think it's okay to say I don't like that, but thank you, Lord. But I really didn't enjoy it, and I would appreciate not doing it again. But thank you, and I know that you will, and it's okay. It's all kind of confusing to me, but in a good way, I love Him. In a bad way, it's just neat what He does. He's always showing me something that I think I know things and I don't, and that's kind of what RU is about. You know, we start thinking that we know how to do things. We start thinking that we have control. We start thinking that we got a handle on something, and then He says, maybe not, because you're not letting me do it. And that is what RU is about. It's just how to let God have control of your life, how to allow Him that control, and then to hear what He says, and then put it into action. And again, that thing about we hear, we understand, we get it, but we don't do it. Because the doing is the hard part. And it sounds easy. This is what you need to do. Here's the steps. And I turn and walk away, and He's like, yeah, but how? Easy for you to say. So God's just been doing a lot of stuff with me, and that's good. I enjoy it. And it's usually connected with RU. That's why I say that, because He shows me things in RU, and I use it in other places, which is what we're all supposed to do. But it's all about finding, maintaining, and growing our walk with the Lord individually. And the biggest word that I've had this last couple of weeks is individually. It's me. For me, it's about me. I can't, it's not for me to do you. It's for me to do me. And we all have to have that attitude. I have to take care of me. Well, they're doing this stuff. They're doing this stuff. Yes, they are. But what am I supposed to do? That's what RU is all about. Because I hope you understand, you have no control over anybody else in any way, shape, or form. Even as a parent, you really don't. They agree to let you. Praise the Lord. And that's our goal, to get them to have that agreement. But bottom line is, we won't have that agreement if we're not the person we're supposed to be. If I'm the person I'm supposed to be, the Lord, will influence them to want to do what I want them to do. And again, this is all about RU. So one of the ways that we learn this relationship with the Lord, that we get that relationship with the Lord, is through the 10 principles. God wants us to have those so ingrained in our heart that they are part of our decision-making process. And it's so easy because we say them all the time, every week. We repeat them, and if we're not careful, it's so easy for them to just become words that we say. Just like reading the Bible every day. Pretty soon it just becomes words that we're reading if we're not careful. We have to purpose to make them alive, to keep them alive. They are alive, but we kill them as we bring them in because we get casual. So as we do the 10 principles, understand that. And you know what? They're for you. And they are. And they're for you. And they're for you. But when I'm saying them, they're not for you. They're for me. And we've got to be there all the time. Lord, what is it that you're saying to me? Help me to hear you. It's got to be every time we go through 10 principles. Psalms 1, teaching. You have to have the attitude, what is it that you want me to hear? And when you get that thing, write it down, keep it, put it somewhere, work on it, because God's speaking to you. All right, principle number 1, If God's against it, so am I. Number 2, every sin has its origin in our heart. Number 3, it's easier to keep the heart clean than to clean it after it's been defiled. Number 4, we cannot fight a fleshly appetite by indulging in it. Number 5, small compromises lead to great disasters. Number 6, those who do not love the Lord will not help you serve the Lord. Number 7, our sinful habits do hurt those who follow us. Number 8, it's not possible to fight a fleshly temptation with a fleshly weapon. Number 9, we lose our freedom to choose when we give in to temptation. Our consequences are inevitable and incalculable and up to God. And number 10, God balances guilt with blame. Accept the blame for your actions, and God removes the guilt. And again, before we start this, just as we go through this, I can't do this. I can't do what I'm telling you to do when I'm up here doing this, because if I do, my mind goes off in tangents and I get lost and you laugh at me. So, but you can. It's okay if you go off on a tangent when I'm doing this, because you're allowed to do that. Does that make sense? But seriously, if we're going through the 10 principles and something hits you, just zone out. Stay there. It's okay, because God's talking to you. Listen to Him. It's all right. That's please, and do that. That's what we need to do. All right. So Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. That's what I was saying about I can't meditate and listen. I have to just read these as I'm doing them. I was thinking, but when I'm teaching, I don't have that. And so if you've ever noticed, sometimes when I'm teaching, things just go, well, you wouldn't necessarily know where I'm headed. But I'll be teaching something, and I end up way over here that's not even what I've written down, because I do allow that. And I'm really glad that God does that with me. So meditation, stay in Proverbs 3:33. Proverbs 3:33. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesses the habitation of the just. When I was reading this the other day, and I've obviously read this many times, and the words that jumped out, there's 2 words there. There's a house and there's a habitation. There's a house and a habitation. I'd really never thought about that before. And they're fairly different words. A house is a building. A house it's just that, it's a building. And we do live in a house, apartment, whatever. It's a physical structure we live in, and it's our house. But there's a difference between a habitation is a place where you dwell. It's a thing called home. And there's a big difference between a house and home. There really is. The house, we can work on our house. I love to work on my house. Well, mostly I love to work in my shop, but it's the same. That's where I dwell. But that's the home. That has to be made. It's not with brick and mortar. It has to be created. It's called relationship. Okay, and we can have a house, and unfortunately, many of us live in a house, but we don't live in a home sometimes. Just to be real honest with you, I lived in a house for a long time. Sarah and I lived in a house for a long time. It wasn't that much of a home because the relationship wasn't what it was supposed to be. And there's a big difference. So question to ask yourself is what does our home look like? What does our home look like? Is it blessed or is it cursed? The home is not the physical structure we live in. It's not the location of the things we have. Our home is the lives of the people that live there and the relationships that they have. And one of the best evidences of our relationship with the Lord is the Spirit in our home. If we say, well, I'm a Christian, and when somebody comes over to our house, invite them to our house, and they come in and they sit down, and when they leave, they're going to have an opinion about what kind of Christian we are, because they were either in our house or they were in our home. And it's not the pictures on the wall. It's not even the television, the show that's on the television or whatever. It's the spirit that's there. Okay, when someone comes to our house, and these are just questions to ask yourself. I ask myself, what do they see? What do they feel? Are the people in the house, are they focused on each other or on themselves? Are the children only interested in doing what they want? Are they constantly trying to get what they want? Do the children, do they have a willing obedience towards the authority in the house? Do the authorities in the house demand obedience with harsh words and actions, or do they receive willing obedience because of love and respect? Have you ever left somebody's house and said, whoa, whoa, whoa? You guys are laughing. You know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? And watch this. No home is perfect. Seriously, no home is perfect. But every home reflects the attitude, the spirit of the leaders in the home. And some of us just live in a house, a structure to protect us from the elements. Our house is a building where we live. We dedicate our lives to making our house attractive. That's the American way. You know, fix up your house, make your lawn look pretty, do landscaping, new paint, all this stuff. Make it look good. And we dedicate our lives to making our house attractive sometimes. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with an attractive house. We'll drive up to our house. Sarah laughs at me every time. After the guys come over and do the lawn and stuff, we drive into the house and I say, whoa, that's a nice looking house. And she just laughs because I've said it like 30 times now. The first time it was cute. Now it's just kind of dumb. But it looks nice. I mean, I like to drive up there because it looks nice. When people come over to visit me, she gets really irritated because I'm going to take them on a tour. Look at our house. This thing is so cool. I like our house. I've invested. I enjoy it. To me, I really like it. Now, that hasn't been true in all of our houses. Not because they're not homes, but some of our houses are like, it's all right. It just feels weird somehow, the house, the building. I like this one. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to ask yourself, we have many amenities and toys. The members of our family, they look right, they act right, and everyone's focused, but everyone's focused on what they want. It's like, I want, this is what my goal here is. For me, each person is chasing their own desires. We have a house, a nice house, but not a home. A lady we used to know when we first met, when we were dating, we visited a couple's house, and it was beautiful. I mean, the carpets were, everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. Strangest thing I'd ever seen. She had ashtrays. It was like when people used to smoke. I don't know. People still do, but it's different. So you go over and you sit there in their house and you smoke. Now, I didn't smoke at the time, but I watched people that did. And they'd smoke like half a cigarette, and they'd flick the ashes in the ashtray. And she didn't break it. It's not a big deal, but she would get up and go and empty the ashtray, clean it, and bring it back before they finished their cigarette. And it was like, I was like, whoa, because it had to be perfect all the time. But it wasn't much of a home. There wasn't much spirit in there. And we have to have a nice house. That's our focus is nice house. And you know what? Here's what happens though. And this is sometimes kind of hard to look at. The desire of our children is to leave as quickly as they can and never look back. When they're out of the home, they're gone. And they want to. And everyone demands what's their right, what is their right and what's due them. Kind of the prodigal son kind of guy. And some of us live in a habitation, an abode, a dwelling place, a home. Our home is a place of safety and comfort. And we dedicate our lives to building the relationships in the home. The physical building is not the focus of the attention. We take care of it. It's good, but that's not the focus. The people in our home are concerned with the good of the people in the home. The parents teach, instruct, reprove, rebuke their children with love and not from anger. And the children obey because they don't want to disappoint their parents, not out of fear of consequences. Of course, fear of consequences, but that's not the motivating factor. There's shared goals and directions. And when the time comes for a child to leave, they leave looking back with fondness. This is a place I want to go back and visit. It's not like I'm so glad I'm gone. They go forward without leaving anyone behind. They go forward without leaving anyone behind. So, question, do we live in a house or home? The difference is having Christ at the center, the foundation, the focus. If we see that we have more house than home, we need to start working on something. We need to change the focus of our life. And here's the deal. It only takes one person in that house. Doesn't have to be the mom. Doesn't have to be the dad. It could be one of the teenagers. It could be one of the younger children. It could be a grandparent. It could be an aunt or an uncle that lives there. All it takes is one person to change the entire thing. And so if you, and just saying, if you look at the place you live, your house, and it is, let's say it is a home, but you'd like it to be a better home, you don't have to get anybody on board with you. You follow what I'm saying? Just look right here and say, what can I do? How can I be a better husband, wife, son, daughter, grandparent? What can I do? Myself, me. And you will change that. You will cause it to change. So, where are you living? And where do you want to live? Because, see, we can change us. And us changes everything. Us changes everything. It doesn't fit with this very much, but I was talking to somebody today, and we're saying they're having a discussion. And the scenario kind of went like this. This fits in a little bit. So this person here, let's say a parent is talking to an older teenage child. And they're having a discussion, and the parent says, say my back is killing me. And the teenager just says, I have a headache. And the parent is like, you don't have any idea what pain is. I have this pain that is so big. I have to deal with it. And the teenager's like, they get into an argument. And we were talking and said, well, why does that happen? Well, it's just, it's selfish, whatever. So no, you have to. But the problem is this, and this is just a cool illustration. I want to show you. I figured out, this is what started a change reaction later on for me. I really hate it. But, so here's the issue. Does the parent have a problem? Does their back hurt? Parents have issues. You have issues? I mean, you got stuff, you got things, you got pressures, you got stuff you're worried about, you got mortgage, all the stuff that and they're real, right? You have stuff. Is that true? All of us do, and to us, it's big, and it is big. So let's say Adeline. I can actually remember her name. I go through this process. So Adeline, she's what? How old is she? 3 years old. Does she have problems? Does she have issues? No. Go with me. She does. She does. No, I says, are they the same size as yours? To her, they absolutely are. That's her life. And we look at it and say, that's nothing. And to us, it's not. But to her, it's her life. And it's incredibly important to her. Just like my issues are important to me. And so here's what's going on. This is the two people talking. See, this is the two people. They're focused on them. They're focused on them. This is the two people talking. So if you ever find yourself in a thing like that, and you say something that somebody else says, oh, but my issues are so much bigger than yours, blah, blah, blah. You're like, but no, my issues are big too. Okay, so here's the solution. What do you do in there? How could you change that? How could you make that better? So you can only change you, right? So this is going to be you right here, or me. So this is happening, and you do this. You go like this and look at them and realize that their issues are incredibly big to them. They really are. It doesn't matter what you think about it at all. It doesn't make a bit of difference what you think about them. To them, they are what they are. And if you do this for a while, just yes. Not try to fix, not try to do it, just, oh man, that is, oh yeah. And seriously, you know what happens after a little bit? This starts happening. And pretty soon, now this is a relationship. This is not. Because we're both looking at ourselves. What are the 2 great commandments? Love God, love people. This is not loving people. That's loving me. This is loving people. And that causes that. That's how we can take control of our home. It doesn't have to be, well, my wife is doing this. Okay, so what? What are you doing? My husband's this. Yes, you're right. What are you doing? So, it's kind of a challenge to you. And be careful what you teach someone like that. Because later on, just a while ago, God said to me, you're doing this, turkey. You need to straighten yourself up. So I went in the auditorium for about 20 minutes, had a pity party for myself, and talked to God. And finally, I just said, you're right. I hate you. You're right. I hate you in good ways. But I had to be willing to do this to God. Because I was just looking at me. Because it's easy to do. But when I started looking at him, and it was hard. I was sitting there crying and being an idiot. I finally said, you're right. I got nothing. I can't do anything. I just can only do I know all I can do is take the next step. And so I got up, I came in here, I finished my lesson, and here I am. And hopefully I'm a little bit better than I was before I went in there. But, all right, let's cut it off here.